Hello people, my name is Ben, and today is the last day of the Steam Autumn Sale, Day 6. It is the final one. These sales will only last for 24 hours, probably 23 or less hours after this goes up. Keep in mind that the sales from yesterday are still available to pick up as well. Overall, the sales from yesterday are better than the final day as well, so that's quite interesting. Starting off with Counter-Strike Global Offensive, I believe this includes pretty much every Counter-Strike game. You can get the entire Counter-Strike Complete bundle for like 67% off, so that isn't bad at all, and that's pretty much just like $3 more than this. So if you're interested in playing some of the originals, then definitely consider that. But Global Offensive itself is 50% off at $7.49. £5.99, €6.99 tier 1 and €5.49 tier 2 and $7.49. So Counter-Strike Global Offensive, it's a great game if you really want to get into Counter-Strike. Honestly, it seems the most accessible. It's got some really player friendly features about it. Stuff like Arms Race, which is pretty much gun game, is extremely fun. I had a lot of fun with Arms Race. It was really awesome, and it's pretty much the only thing that I can really do well in, and I didn't really mind just playing that, if I'm honest. It has a fairly good tutorial that will teach you everything you need to know, and then you can just learn from there on out. Look at other players, check out replays, all the crazy stuff like that. It looks fairly good, but the source engine is of course showing its age. So overall, very good game at a pretty good deal, considering it was only out on the 21st of August, and it is a Valve owned title, and it does have that same sense of quality minus the graphics. Tons of customization, sort of mod support, not full on Steam Workshop yet. However, it does have a ton of different maps, including things from the original, remastered version, stuff like that. And it is great fun, especially if you get some friends together. Next is the pretty much polar opposite of that. It's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. It's more expensive and it's worse. Go figure. There's no reason that you should be paying attention to this. I'm not even going to read the prices off. It's 50% off. That's all I'm going to say, because you shouldn't even care. It's not a good game from the start. It wasn't that great, and the fact that they think that they can still charge this for it, considering Black Ops 2 just came out, is ridiculous. But then again, they're giving us stuff like Black Ops 1, which was 2 Call of Duties ago, still for 50% off, which is ludicrous. Why would you get this when Black Ops 2 is out and far superior and one of the best Call of Duty games we've had in a long time? I'm afraid I've not got around to doing a video on that just yet. But Modern Warfare 3 isn't good, especially when compared to Black Ops 2 and the changes it made. Awful campaign, ridiculously short, yet again, especially when compared to Black Ops 2. Awful PC support all around. The options are scarce. Really low FOV, so if you suffer from, you know, queasiness from that, then you're not gonna like it at all. So just avoid this at all costs. However, you shouldn't avoid Alan Wake, because the entire franchise is on sale yet again for 75% off. It brings it down to $9.99, £7.74, €8.99, or $9.99. Very good deal for two very good games. You've got Alan Wake, the Collector's Edition Extras, which are things like the soundtrack and virtual art books, I believe, illustrated PDF book, some commentary videos as well. Not too much, but if you haven't got the Collector's Edition yet, then you could always just pick up those. Each individual thing is also 75% off, so if for whatever reason you still don't have Alan Wake's American Nightmare, then you can get that for like £3, which is really worth it because it's sort of more of the same. It evolves some mechanics, but it's still just great fun, and it's got a sort of wave mode, but they are actually two completely separate games. You don't require Alan Wake to play Alan Wake's American Nightmare, which is great. Both fantastic games, really good PC support, as you would expect from a game that we waited like, what, 2-3 years for? But they did an amazing job. Remedy, Entertainment are awesome with the fact that they self-funded this project, and I hope they'll do more stuff like this, because the Alan Wake franchise, apart from some shaky voice acting and even worse facial animations, is really interesting, and it has some really good gunplay. You use a light on the dark monsters and such, and that will deplete their shields, stuff like that, making it easy to shoot them with your gun or revolver or whatever. And then other light mechanics such as flares, which do a shit ton of damage, stuff like that will come into play, and it's quite strategic in that sense. It's just very interesting overall, since you play as a writer and the entire thing itself is like a novel being read by Alan Wake, who is fairly well voice acted, even though he sounds dead half the time, but I think that's just how his character's meant to be. Definitely recommend this. If for whatever reason you don't have it, get Alan Wake, please try it out, it's a wonderful game. Next we have Castle Crashers for 67% off. That brings it down to $4.99, £3.35, €3.99 or $4.99. The price it should have been at launch, if I'm honest. This also includes the 4-pack, by the way, but not the DLC for whatever reason, unless it does, but I don't believe it does, so that kind of sucks. They made us wait 3 years for this on PC, and this is what it should have released at, not full price because of the wait and the fact that it had no extra content, which was pretty disappointing. There's not a huge amount of options, but you don't really need it for a game like this. I'd recommend it if you've got friends to play with, whether they be online or local, because it does have both, and also cross-platform multiplayer, which is fairly awesome. It has achievements and leaderboards, Steam Cloud, controller enabled, full controller support, all that good stuff. Has a ton of content, so the game itself is still just as good as ever. It's just a shame that we had to wait so long, and then they had the guts to release it at full price, which is pretty ridiculous, and I don't think it sold all that well because of that, and because a lot of people already own the game. It's a 2D brawler thing with quite a good combat system and a really good sense of humor as well. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, which I'm sure a lot of you are because it's kind of hilarious, there's some tedious parts of it that get really annoying, especially when one person dies and they can't come back, and then you're just left there fighting the boss for yourself for about 5 minutes. I've had that happen, and it's quite annoying. However, at this price, you're not going to see it much lower than this, I don't think, anytime soon at all. So definitely pick it up if this is your sort of thing and you have people to play with. Next we come on to Legend of Grimrock. I did a video on this quite a while back. I liked it a lot. It has a full-on level editor out for it now, including Steam Workshop support, so that's kind of awesome. It's a first-person, classic-style dungeon crawler. You don't see any of your characters that you're playing as. You control a whole party of 4, which you can create or just have the default ones at the very beginning. Game looks beautiful. Like, there's a lot of detail in those textures. For an indie game, it's pretty incredible. Same goes for the different models and such. But you are constantly in the first person, which may take some people out of the game. And considering it's a lot of just like, click on this, you don't fully see the attack happening, but you probably see more of an effect on the enemy than you would have, say, in the very old first person dungeon crawlers. It's very entertaining. It's got a ton of different puzzles and content, especially with the Steam Workshop support. It already had enough as it was, but now there's even more, and they've brought out free DLC, tons of crazy stuff like that. It's really great. If you are interested in stuff like that, or you think that would interest you, then please get it. It's 75% off, $3.74, £2.99, €3.49 tier 1, or €2.74 tier 2, and $3.74. Awesome prices for an awesome game. You can go check out my full thoughts on it on that video. And finally, we are at The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Enhanced Edition, which means that it comes with a ton more content as well, which is, of course, wonderful. Before you get this game, before you consider getting this game, do you have the PC capable of running it? Do you? Because I'm not sure if you do, because it requires quite a bit to run smoothly. If you want to run it at high enough settings, then you're going to need a fairly beastly PC, because this pushes the PC to its limits. It's 18 gigs as well, so it might take a while to download depending on what internet connection you're on. Yeah, it's huge, but it is 75% off, and it's $7.49, £4.99, €7.49, which is kind of a shame, or $7.49. Really great price. I don't even care if the Europeans get ripped off a little bit. You guys should just buy it anyway, because it's one of the best games of last year and one of the best RPGs I've ever played. Think of Game of Thrones, if it was a good video game, not some of those crap ones. And it just like mainly focused on one character, but it did have this sort of political aspect. So it's not the most entertaining and easy to get into game. There's a lot of different backstory and reading about different characters. Ton of content, so much. There's like 30 to 60 hours or something crazy like that, depending on how much you explore, and there are different endings, different choices that you can make. It's really good. It looks beautiful. Geralt, the main guy you play as, is a really fun character to play as, because he's like sarcastic, he's got a good sense of humour. The whole game does. It doesn't hold anything back, it's fully mature, so keep that in mind. The mechanics are extremely in depth, as are the characters. Voice acting is stunningly amazing. Oh, it's so good. I love everything about this game. I can't think of anything that I don't really like. There's a couple of annoying areas. It provides a really tough challenge as well. There's nothing I don't like about this game. It was so good, so well written, gritty story, awesomeness. At that price, you better be picking that up. And finally, we come on to the indie games, because I thought I'd just say these anyway, because they're not showing up in the flash or daily deals, of course, and this is the last day. Today we have stuff like Osmos featured, which is very good, like fling balls into other balls. It's a little puzzle game thing. Xenoclash is an excellent sort of weird combat system first person game. Xenoclash 2 is also coming out. That's 90% off. That's 69p. Yeah, insanely cheap. Definitely get that. Hamlet, I've not played. Shatter, really good sort of variation on the block breaker, or whatever it was called. You know, where you hit things at the blocks and they break, or in this case shatter. It's got great music, some really nice visuals, stuff like that. That's 50% off. I'd highly recommend you check that out if you're into sort of the arcadey style of games. Sword and Sorcery, I did a whole video on this, so you can go check that out if you want my full thoughts. I thought it was rather good, as did a lot of people, so you should definitely be considering that at 60% off, sorry, at £2. Why not? It's awesome. Ys Origin, not played it. I also did a video on Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams of the beta. That was awesome. I'm so glad it got funded. Great soundtrack, amazing visuals. 40% off, really good considering the high quality productions that are in it and the amount of content, and it only came out recently as well, so it's very good. Closure, I also did a video on this, and that was 50% off, £3.49. Really good. I quite enjoyed my time with it. You can go check out that video for my full impressions, of course. And if for whatever reason you still don't have VVV, then you should be getting that, because it's incredibly cheap. It's been cheaper, but who cares? Give these guys more money. I want to see more games by them. Really hard, challenging, classic style platformer where you just flip gravity. You can't jump, you just flip the gravities. It's really good. It's so simple, such a simple concept, but used in so many unique ways that you don't think it would have been. It's awesome. So that brings us to the end of the Steam Autumn Sale. That is the end of all of the Steam Autumn Sales for this year. We'll be back probably for the Steam Winter Sale, which will inevitably happen at Christmas time, around then. And keep an eye out for the flash sales, of course. Things like Killing Floor and Sniper Elite, Grand Theft Auto. Those things are on flash sales right now. Awesome games. Why would you not get them? Especially Killing Floor, 75% off. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. Thanks for watching these videos and supporting if you have been, and if you've not been, then you're not listening to me now, so there's no point in me talking. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.